From the beautiful campus of Casper College, it's the T-Birds Coaches Show, bringing you game breakdowns, expert analysis, and exclusive interviews. Here's your host, Tom Myler.
Hello, T-Bird fans, to another fantastic episode of our Casper College Coaches Show. Joining us today is Coach Tom Parks, head coach men's basketball team. Welcome back, Coach.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. We always love talking basketball, and especially when we're winning.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot more fun to talk about winning than losing.
Yes, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, it's not always about winning.
It's not.
But we like it.
It's
not. It makes us feel good. It makes, builds confidence, etc.
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. This last week, you had two games, Eastern Wyoming and LCCC. Mm-hmm. Got a W in both, but man, both tough competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think that from top to bottom, I think that there's certain teams that are better than last year and maybe certain teams that are struggling a little bit more than last year. But I think overall, from 1 to 7, I think there's not as much disparity as there was in my first year back in the league. So that's good. I mean, it's good for our region. It's good for our conference. I can tell you Eastern Wyoming is going to be a team that is going to only get better. And, who knows how much of the benefits they'll see this year. But you can just tell from one coach to another, just seeing the way they warm up, seeing how hard they play and how consistent their effort is, seeing the way their bench is, seeing the things that they're pretty disciplined on the floor, seeing the way that they are in a huddle and a timeout. I mean, it's easy to tell when a program is trending in the right direction. So I think Eastern Wyoming, with their new coach, it just seems like there's a lot of life in that program right now.
Yeah, because I remember last year playing EWC, and it wasn't necessarily close.
Right.
Whereas this year you go there, and it was a battle the whole game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they're just scrappy and kind of like what we talked about. I think we're always going to get teams best,
True.
Especially with just where we're sitting at in the conference right now. I think everyone's trying to kind of knock us off, and we're the team that they want to do that to. And rightfully so. It's just kind of how sports are. You're always excited to play the team that's in first place. And, we've won a lot of games this year. And even in years past, like Casper has always been circled on a lot of people's schedules. So especially when you're on the road, and you're traveling the day of the game and you're getting off the bus and you're, warming up and you're for 20 minutes and you're about to play in a game and that some of those guys have never even stepped foot in and shot a hoop, So, yeah, it's interesting, but I'm glad we won. I think overall, we played pretty good in both games. I just think, like I said, we're going to get the best of every team we play.
Absolutely. So with the Eastern game, what would you say was the highlight or thing that you appreciated the most about your team?
I think really just kind of just sticking with who we are and our pace and our intensity. I thought it didn't wear on Eastern as fast, but the last 6-7 minutes of the game, we really took control of the game. I mean, I think we won by 15, and that was with a 3 at the buzzer off the backboard, for them. So, we almost won by 20 points, but it was, like you said, it was a battle for 35 minutes. I thought we had decent control of the game, but again, I think our system and our conditioning and our intensity, I think it finally got the point where it wore on them in those last 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, and I'm actually glad you brought up this intensity, your tempo, and even your conditioning, because I had the chance to kind of sneak in, and not necessarily sneak in, but watch about last 15, 20 minutes of your practice the other day, and I just was very impressed. I would just want to say that about, one, your coaching style, and just I feel like the respect and kind of this culture that you've created among your team. And it was very heartening to see.
Yeah.
I loved it. The fact that, your players, they worked hard. You could see the conditioning was there. But yes, they were battling. Yes, they were, opponents in that, but yet they were still showing each other love, trying to encourage each other. And it was just really cool to see that definitely has translated, I feel like, to the court.
Yeah, one of my biggest mentors and somebody who, called our Paul Marble, our athletic director, before I got the job, but when I was going through the process, Dennis Gates, he's the head coach at University of Missouri, and they're top 20 in the country right now. I've had multiple guys that I've coached that have played for him at various different places, including University of Missouri, and they've talked a lot in the media about his teams and the things that he says, and he just says, the most connected team wins. And it's kind of one of those things where as you go throughout the course of the year, you just have to keep striving for that, and you never know when those moments are going to click with a group. Sometimes it's like really early on and it's great. Other times it's later, and I think we've kind of been waiting for this team. Like, they all like each other, they all respect each other, but there's a difference between liking and respecting and being connected. And I think we're really starting to become a connected unit. And we saw it, even just this road trip. Like, I love the fact that we don't have to play any, except one more game on the road. And hopefully that's it. But it's also like, that's when you grow a lot, as a team, when you're kind of in those bonding moments outside of just practice and the games. It's the time you're spending eating, breakfast in a hotel lobby, and the times you're getting on and off the bus, and the times you're eating those team meals or doing film in, one of the hotel rooms. And so it was just fun to see those guys on the road, because we hadn't been on an overnight trip in a while, and to see the guys on the road and how they bonded. And I think, like you said, in practice, I just think there's a level of respect and connectedness with our group right now.
Yeah, and what's really nice too is, you mentioned you've only got one more road trip, and hopefully that's the last one, depending on how kind of the conference shakes up. But you've only got one game a week for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so and it's not necessarily going to allow them to go eat breakfast in a hotel, but it still allows them time to rest, outside of practice, hang out and do things that, hopefully catch up on schoolwork or stay caught up on schoolwork. And so, it's really exciting to see how this team is coming.
Yeah,
and I feel like you're playing some really good basketball right now.
No, for sure. And I think a lot of it is attributed to those things off the court, for sure.
Awesome. Well, good win against Eastern. LCCC, you get the win. Never an easy place to play in Cheyenne. They got a great home court. Lots of fans there rooting against you.
Right.
I guess supporting their team. But tell us a little bit about that game. What were your thoughts? How did you feel?
Yeah, they're talented. They've got 3 guards that average between 15 and 20 a game. They're freshman TJ Coulter that leads them in scoring, really shoots the ball well. At an extremely high level, and he's crafty and he's quick and he knows how to play, and he's just a freshman. He's one of the best freshmen in the country, at least from an offensive standpoint, from the freshmen that we've played against and seen. And so we knew that, they were going to be able to shoot it. We knew they were talented. I think it's hard playing on a back-to-back, and they have an unbelievable new gym. It's a perfect junior college gym. It's great size. They're getting a lot of attendance. They're doing things at their games that are fun, throwing out T-shirts for threes. They're doing it the right way, and they've seen probably an influx of attendance because of it. I remember playing against LCCC, when I was at Air Force Academy Prep School and, Sheridan College, and it was 20 years ago, but it was very sparse in the stands. And I think that they're doing it the right way. Like I said, beautiful facility, but good team, physical. It was a really physical game. Another game that, again, it's just when is that moment of opportunity going to be when we can kind of strike and build a lead and sustain it. And, ironically, and this is what we talked to our guys, it happened halfway through the second half, and they were fired up to play us. We knew that, but our guys made some plays when they needed to, and we were able to get a lead and sustain it. But it was a fun place to play. Being from Cheyenne, it's always nice. I'll have some people that will come to the game that probably don't usually, aren't able to make games. So it's always fun to play back in Cheyenne. So
absolutely, and especially to win in Cheyenne.
Oh yeah, Chick-fil-A tastes better.
That's true. I love it. All right, well, 2 good wins. Right now you're sitting up top of the conference. Now we got a home game tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Western Wyoming. You beat them once before, but as we've learned, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It's a completely different game. They've grown, you've grown. They're going to throw different things at you. You're going to try different things on them. What can we expect?
Yeah, they had a couple guys out the first time we played them that, a couple talented pieces, their second leading scorer, but even just from a offensive and a defensive standpoint, a couple guys that just make them better. And so it's going to be a different game. And I think, so far, we talk about the one game that we played at Western Nebraska, but other than that, our guys have showed up and respected their opponents. We've played better and worse, but, I think that's, part of our success right now is just continuing to respect the game, respect our opponent, and to go out and earn a win. I think in a lot of programs it would be easy like I said, you saw practice. For us to be like, oh, we beat them by 28 or whatever it was the first time we played them, and it was on the road, like we can walk through practice. That's just not going to happen with us. I mean, it's just something regardless of opponent, I just think you got to respect the game and you got to honor the game. And ultimately, it's never about beating one opponent. Maybe, if we're fortunate enough to make it to the championship game, it's about winning that game and beating that opponent. But right now, it's just about getting better. It's just about continuing to improve because, there's going to be 8 teams, at the, that make it to the one site that are all going to have opportunity to compete for a championship. And the goal is of those 8 teams to be playing the best basketball. And so, we need to win because, we do have goals to host it and to win the regular season. But ultimately, man, we just need to get better. And I don't know what we're going to stay true to who we are and try to rebound the heck out of the basketball and play fast and be aggressive and be intense. But it'll be nice to play at home.
Oh, yeah. And especially with how we've seen the crowds come out and the fans, should be a great one.
Yeah, no, for sure. So
for this game against West Wyoming, looking at this matchup, what's going to be a key to success for this game for your team?
Definitely ball screen defense. They run a lot of ball screens. They have a really good kind of 2-man game. Depending on which guard it is, they've got a couple guards that either are really good playmakers and passing the ball or capable scorers that more look to be a threat coming off scoring wise. And then they've got just some bigs that are really fundamental. They're really skilled. They know how to set screens. So I think defensively it's going to be definitely ball screen defense. And we're going to throw a couple different things at them. So excited to see like how they adjust. And again, we're always trying to think one step ahead and have the main way we want to do something, but then also look at it. If they hurt us in this way, how could they hurt us and what adjustment will we make? And we always try to practice those things too, so it's not the first time that our guys have seen it. But that's going to be a big one. And, offensively, just trying to have really good pace. They've traditionally been a half-court team. They are pushing the ball a little bit more in the past few games than they have in the past. But, again, that's something that we do every single day in practice, and every single game is try to have that pace and push the pace. So really just trying to create our tempo.
All right. Well, we are definitely looking forward to this matchup. It's always fun to have you guys at home, and we like watching you. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun basketball. For sure.
Well,
thanks, Coach, for coming back.
Absolutely.
It's always a pleasure. And T-Bird fans, we will see you next time.